Good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you are and whatever time it is. Welcome to the Channeled Spirit. I am Dr. Aerin, and I'm a spiritual medium. Last week, I introduced myself, and I told you that my readings would be based on contests directly from my Facebook page. I mentioned that I had a contest. It was being run for a mediumship reading, and that the winner would be selected randomly by a number generator. So page followers could guess any number 1 to 800, and the number closest would be my winner. And the winner was actually Mr. John Papura. And so he is going to be put on as a caller with me here in a moment, and I'm going to connect with him. And just so everyone is aware, John and I did speak very briefly right before coming on here to get situated. He actually was, he and I actually talked just very briefly to go over some of the messages that he had, because he had so many that were coming in from the spirit world. So I went over a couple of things with him, and I told him, hey, I'm going to give you a lot of this on air. And I want also to mention to everybody, while we're waiting for John to connect here, that I'm going to go over how my abilities work. So once more, I do receive vision, like through words and songs and movie clips, celebrity images and such, things that help to provide me with insight to the messages your loved ones wish to impart. So whenever I have anybody on with me, I always ask them to keep an open mind. So if something comes in that you are not sure of, I always say, hey, keep it for later, or try to think outside who you might think it is, because sometimes spirits come in for other people. Okay, and I guess my producer is telling me we do have John on the line. So it's John from La Crosse, Wisconsin, and he is on the line. John, are you there?
Hey, Aerin, how are you?
Hey, John. Hey, it's good. All right, so we got through this part. I can hear you loud and clear.
Good.
All right. Well, it's good to have you on the air on A1R, and thank you for joining me. I was just telling everybody
Thank you for
just
doing
a little
this for me.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Thank you for doing this for me. It's a pleasure.
Perfect. Okay. So I explained to everyone kind of how things kind of roll a little bit, and that I get the visions, I get like celebrities and music and stuff like that. So your reading was nothing short of that. I had all kinds of entertainment fun, and I just, briefly meditated tonight. And although I do think I had some family coming throughout the week for you, that I would get like, hey, tell them this. I'm like, hey, we'll do that Tuesday. But anyway, I'm going to start right into the first energy that came through. Is probably not going to surprise you. All right. The first energy is that of a male father figure. All right. And he is connected to your spouse. And he feels like he is your father-in-law, and he comes in like he has to be first in line, as like he rushes up to this podium in my mind, all right? Like he is a take charge kind of guy, and he's very strong in his essence, probably sometimes bullheaded, and stubborn, but he is loving, he is solid, and he gives me the impression that you guys were really close, and he thought of you as the son he never had. All right. He shows himself younger than when he crossed over. I don't know if this feels like this would be his energy. Can you take that so far as being his energy? Okay. All right, great. And then he also shows himself having dark hair and a big stature at the time when he's coming through. He's a force to be reckoned with over there, as much as he was in life. And he does show up in like a dark 80s type police uniform. It reminds me of something from like the old TV series Hill Street Blues. Now, I never watched Hill Street Blues, but it was his choice. So maybe he liked that show. All right. His hair is a little salt and peppery.
That's my father-in-law.
That's definitely your
father-in-law. My father-in-law to a T.
All right. So his hair is a little salt and peppery in color, mostly on the sides, but it's still pretty dark at this time. So this is how he's coming through. And it's because it's the Hill Street Blues time frame, it would be 80s. And I hear the words Detroit, breathing, and precinct. Would this resonate with you?
He was a Detroit sergeant.
Perfect.
Even when the day he died, he had a full head of hair, and it was salt and pepper.
Awesome. Okay. Now this is interesting because you this makes much more sense, because like we're talking about 80s, and he's standing in a crowded room. Okay, I see him standing in a small crowded room, and it looks like the scene from Beverly Hills Cop, and there's like the window and the shades to the room where you would have seen probably where the sergeant would have been, like the one guy from it. And he's showing me like reporting every morning, and he's standing at this doorway with a black cup of coffee, and he's actually he's like blowing on this like styrofoam cup, just blowing on it. And I'm sitting there thinking, are you cooling it? What are you doing? Are you listening? And, and I'm thinking maybe black coffee was really his thing. And he's like, no, it was my routine. See, he cites that he was a 3S kind of man. All right. At least in the morning. Yeah. I can't say it, blank shower and shave kind of guy. You know that word. Okay, this makes sense. Okay. Yeah. All right. And with that, he takes his coat and he kind of tosses it over the side on his shoulder in a very nonchalant, very self-assured manner. And he shows me a very big open shower room and almost like a locker room. So I'm guessing that maybe there was one maybe where he worked. I don't know if this is something you know of, and I didn't really want to hang around too much and ask too much, and thankfully I don't see high definition, so I didn't want to hang out there. Yeah. He did have a lot. You do know that this is something he's trying to show.
Yeah, no, well, that was when they were Detroit officers, there was a place to shower and shave and change.
Got it. Okay. He was filling me in. He says even though he was sometimes sassy and stubborn, he had a good relationship again with you. He says that you were I see you like pushing him in a wheelchair, especially at the end. And I don't know, but he's showing me what it looks like you're underneath a sink, like you were doing repairs for him. You were fixing things like under a kitchen sink, maybe. You're like in a cabinet. Did you do that? Did you make a lot of repairs for him?
Yeah, I fixed his garbage disposal. Yeah.
Okay, so that must have been a big thing for him, because he's giving me that feeling like he was really appreciative at that time, like he wasn't able to get up much or something, because I see him sitting in a recliner kind of like he was, sick. He wants you to know he was really honored to have you as a son-in-law. And he mentions, though, that he had reservations when you got married. Would you be able to understand this? Because he's saying he's got like a soft tease about him that, about his daughter. And it makes sense, daddies and their daughters. But he says, like, if you ever heard a little girl, there's a day of reckoning. Like,
so, she was the first one to get married, so.
All right, great. So yes, he definitely is very proud and very happy, and he's coming in here. So that's wonderful. I wasn't sure if this is a shift in energy or if this is something that's like somebody that is connected to him, like another male, or if this is him still. But there's a talk of clutter, like somebody is a clutter happy person in their space, like, and there's still whoever it is, like one, you would be able, if they could clean it up, they would find things easier. But two, like whoever this is that's coming through is saying that there's still jokes about clutter. You understand this?
No, that was my father. That was Harold. That was my father-in-law.
Okay, he's recognizing that you're still talking about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just when he passed away and we had to clean the house, it was a lot of work.
I see. Okay. All right. So now he steps aside, and I'm beginning to get another male energy, and it's fatherly. At first I thought it was grandfatherly because of what I was getting, but then I realized, no, he's saying, no, this is fatherly. So immediately I see the reference to the famous World War II picture with the Navy soldier as he throws her to the side and he kisses her. And it's actually called Kissing the War Goodbye, and it's by Victor Jorgensen. And it's supposed to be Times Square. It's celebratory, for the war to be over. But to me, it's a symbol of I've been drafted, I'm at war, it's Navy, and I left my beloved at home. So to me, this represents a male that's close to you, father telling me that he was a World War II veteran, and that a lovely lady who came in later or was his wife. But for now, can you take this?
That's my dad and my mom right there. My dad was in World War II, and he was stationed all over. And my remember my mom went to visit him in Virginia at the end of the war. So
Perfect.
it
All right,
was
I'll go
kind of
on.
like a reunion.
That's awesome. He shows me the movies Dear John and The Notebook. Both stories, interesting enough, were written by Nicholas Sparks and were novels. I'm starting to see that the spirit world likes him. So anyway, I begin to see small letters with small envelopes. Significant to writing back and forth, obviously, is Dear John to begin with. But if you know that story, then you understand it, being at war and then writing the letters. But I have to ask you, did you ever find letters? Because the letters I see are yellowed and they're like put together, like they're bundled up. I feel like somebody kept these letters and held on to them. Would you understand this, or is it just symbolizing that they wrote back and forth?
I found letters from with my dad and one of the buddies he had in the military.
Okay.
And they were in camp together, but then they got separated, and they would send letters to each other.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Then the next part of the Notebook, what's significant about that to me is the longevity of the marriage. But your mother comes in later and she brings something else important with that. And I think that what had come in obviously was the fact that she had Alzheimer's. Okay. And your father and mother showed that they were married for what I would guess was at least 60 years. That's what I would pick up when I get the Notebook. Can you take this?
Yeah. They were married for a long time.
Awesome. I love that too. I love that when long marriages, that's just beautiful. He played the song. Now this is very interesting. He played the song At Last by Etta James, which is unusual for a World War II reference. Is usually I'll Be Seeing You by Billie Holiday. So, you got to leave it to spirit to throw in something different. But he had a reason, I think, because he was like, no, not Etta James, Glenn Miller. All right. So when I looked up the Glenn Miller Orchestra, he was from 1941 to 1942. So it was around that time period of World War II. And he also says what's significant is, the song obviously is a strong love, a strong bond, being there through everything. And people use it a lot of times for when they get married as their first dance. So it's a really beautiful song. But here's the thing. I found an interesting fact, and you can ask about this, and I don't know if your father was supposed to watch him perform, because I read that Glenn Miller actually was headed overseas to entertain troops back in World War II when his plane went down in bad weather. So I don't know if there was something with that, but he was pointing out Glenn Miller to me. Do you understand this maybe? It's okay if you don't. It's just he's pointing it out, and it goes around the World War II. So I just wanted to let you know.
No, I get it. Sorry.
Okay.
He saw Glenn Miller's last show.
Producer. Etta James in 1961, yes, and Glenn Miller was 1941. Thank you for my producer. Thank you. Okay,
he saw Glenn Miller's last show.
He did?
Yeah.
He did see Glenn Miller's last show. That's great. Okay, so if that was significant to him to point out to you, that's great. Now, I asked them who passed first and how old they lived to be. Now, the answer, this is funny because the answers seem to go back and forth. So I felt like they really had long lives. And obviously, if they were married 60 years, they did. But usually a man would pass first. And I'm thinking like she passed first for some reason, but I was so confused. And I thought, well, they had to have passed very close together, and bringing back the Notebook where they both passed at the same time in the Notebook. So here's the thing. I felt like they both lived well into their late 80s, early 90s, I think. It's funny for me because it was hard to pick up. I kept asking, and it was like, they have this I Love Lucy thing kind of going on over there, And after she died, I felt like she might have waited for him to cross over. So I got the feeling he may have been ill. He was sick. He was in a hospice. I feel like I saw somebody had a nasal cannula, and I was getting respiratory. So I felt like she knew he was going to cross, and she waited for him so that they could cross together. Does any of this resonate for you?
Well, my mom died first.
Your mom died? She did die first. Okay. And it was how many years?
2 years later, my father did.
So it was close. Okay. So it was close. All right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did he have a nasal cannula? Was he in hospice?
He was under hospice. He had
He was in hospice.
leukemia. He had leukemia, which was caused by asbestosis.
So he did have a nasal cannula, or whatever that is. He had something like for respiratory to help him breathe, right?
Right. Well, he had lung cancer first.
Okay, that makes sense then. Okay,
and,
all right.
But that was like when I was
picking
really
up the respiratory issues I was picking up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
all right.
you know.
He appears
and my
as a very.
father-in-law had.
I'm sorry. Uh-huh.
My mother-in-law and father-in-law both had was it COPD?
They both had it. Okay, so they had a lot. So they were basically talking together, giving me that information. The pulmonary respiratory issues. Okay, he appears as a taller man, somewhat thin. I mean, he was bigger, but he's thin and white hair. He gives me the sign he wore glasses, and he provides me with, this is really significant because he provides me with a vision of my own grandfather, and I have twin boys. And I remember when I went to him and I visited, I put those twin boys, like one in one arm and one in the other. And it was just a really proud moment for my grandfather, even though he was, he was aged, he was holding both of those boys. So I don't know if this resonates with you, but he showed me that vision and he made me feel like this was similar, like there were two babies in his arms. So if you did this, or if like, I picked it up and I'm putting it out there.
Yeah, I have twins, and I think it's both my dad, both my father-in-law and my father. We have pictures of both of them holding the boys and
together, like one in one arm and one in the other. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so that was a really strong moment for them that they're bringing forward to show that. That is fantastic. Now, did your dad later in life, who wore the fedora? Because somebody's driving a lot and they got a fedora on.
Fedora.
It's okay, like the hat. They always wear a hat, like a fedora. They're showing me a fedora. I don't know the significance of the fedora, but they're showing me a fedora.
Yeah, it's another thing. Both fathers wore hats.
They both wore the hat? Okay.
Yeah, they both used to, they dressed up back in those days, and they both wore hats. And
makes sense.
That was just, looking sharp and dressing up.
Very nice. A motherly lady, she's coming forward, and she's showing me TV moms, all right? But from her generation. She's showing me June Cleaver, like from Leave It to Beaver, which was Barbara Billingsley, and she's showing me June Lockhart, the actress who played the mom on the old TV show Lassie. And I'm made to feel two things, okay? First, this was her feelings on her time era, but how she perceived herself as a wife and a mother, all right? Now, she's very dressed up. I know that I had given you a couple pictures right before we started. It was something about the jawline. June Allison, she brought to my attention, her jawline, her smile, Barbara Billings' smile. Like she wanted you to see that. So you can take a look at those pictures later, but she was bringing that to my attention, like that, her smile. And she had a very beautiful smile, your mother, from what I was picking up. I'm trying to think.
That's my mother-in-law.
That's your mother-in-law?
Yeah, she was always dressed up very nice, and she always had a beautiful smile, and she was always about looking good. She always made sure she had makeup on and everything, and my mom was a little more natural.
She's a little more natural. Okay. Was there any significance to the fact that I kept getting, is there any significance to the month of June, like the fact that I kept getting June Cleaver, June Lockhart? Is there any significance to the month of June? Like, I don't know if there was or not. Just something about June was coming through.
June is my mom's birthday.
Okay. All right, then. That's what she's trying to point out. Because I feel like this was her trying to tell me about, was she well, let me go on and let me say this. Was she in a church choir by any chance? And just in case we have your mom. Your mom was. Okay, because
years ago.
Years ago. Okay, so because I was picking up a church choir and a rosary, leading me to believe she was a strong Catholic.
Yes.
Okay, she was. Okay, perfect. And I actually heard glory, glory, hallelujah. That was what I was hearing. I don't know if, what's that?
No, you're right.
Okay, great. All right. So we have a little slow connection. You're going back and forth. That's all. So this is interesting. I saw a vision of, this is funny. I saw a vision of Miss Hannigan, all right, from Annie. And I was hearing, we love you, Miss Hannigan. And I thought either somebody was an orphan, but then she's looking at Annie, and I get this feeling like somebody's saying no, and they show me Mickey Mouse Club, and they show me Annette Funicello. So now I've got an Annie, and I've got an Annette. Do you understand why they've been trying to tell me the Annie?
You know, the Mickey Mouse Club with my mom and I used to watch it.
You used to watch Mickey Mouse Club, but she's bringing me to the Annie part. She's bringing me to Anne or Annie. Do you understand who Anne or Annie is?
Well, Annie's my mom's name.
So there, okay.
Yeah.
That's her name. Yeah, that's all she's trying to communicate. She was trying to communicate when she showed me the movie Annie, and I wasn't understanding it when I first said, were you an orphan? She's just like, no. So she gives me the name Annette Funicello. So then I'm like, okay, so this is more to the name Anne. So I just wanted you to know, like, okay, seeing this just in case she was, adopted or anything like that. Something had come through about it. So that was her name. Perfect.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about her having like pink flamingos, or what's about pink flamingos? Were they in your yard, or what? What's the pink flamingos?
Yeah. My dad would make them out of wood.
No way! That's awesome. He made them out of wood.
He made them out of wood and put them all over. He made all these different, not just pink flamingos, but Uncle Sam's and all kinds of other things he would make and just put out in the backyard and, cut them out in the wood and paint them and stuff. So, yeah.
All right. And then 2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree.
Oh, God. 2 turtle doves.
It's okay. You can hold on to that.
No, I did. No, I got it. That was her favorite Christmas song.
That was her favorite Christmas song? Okay, perfect. All right.
Cool.
And then would you understand spit and polish till it shines? You said she was very natural, but I feel like she was an excellent homemaker. Would you understand that was she spitting and polishing her stuff?
The silverware. She would,
yes.
Yeah, the house was, she kept it clean.
No, did she get married when she was 21?
Yes, they did.
Got it. And did she wear her mother's dress?
I think she did. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she wore her mother's dress.
I'm going to tell you why. She sang me a song, Mary Chapin Carpenter's song, but she only went halfway through the song. Because it says, she makes his coffee, she makes his bed, she does the laundry, she keeps him fed. When she was 21, she wore her mother's lace. She said forever with a smile upon her face. She does the carpool, she PTAs, doctors and dentists, she drives all day. When she was 29, she delivered number 3, and every Christmas card showed a perfect family. Everything runs right on time, years of practice and design. Spit and polish till it shines. That was the lyrics of that song. And she kept singing that one over and over. And I mean, not personally, but I heard the words to that song coming through to let me know that. So that hit on everything. That's perfect. It's funny how they do that.
Well, then it's funny because then it says after 3, at 29, she had 3. Well, then later in life with me, I was really later. So that was 4.
Awesome. Okay, got it. So by 29, she did have number 3. That is fantastic how that related. Well, we're both getting close on time here, and I want you to know, though, that your father came back in later, and he said that you were loved very, very much, okay? They wanted to tell you both how proud, they were both very proud of you for always being a real stand-up, deliver, just a compassionate, loving, kind man, and that you're very hardworking. And Now, prior to us just being on, just to finalize, because we were really running out of time, we had a great talk, and we had we had friends coming in. We had so many wonderful spot on stuff that was coming through in regards to like Lord of the Dance. And I heard the song Bust a Move, which you said was your friend. And then I saw your fuzzy dice hanging in the car because I said, did you have dice? And you're like, yes, you had the black dice hanging, and I saw that. And then I saw, like the hot rods and the cars, and your mom was telling me her favorite show, and you were and they were friends were telling me about like the songs that you were playing, Johnny Be Good, and then your cat even came through, which we got your cat.
Yeah.
So it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And your aunt was coming through with her favorite songs, and then we were picking up all kinds of cool stuff like favorites of your dad. So it was great. I'm just going to let you know now that your parents, they really wanted you to know that they gave me the song by Jackson 5 that said, the Jackson 5 song, I'll Be There For You. And I really felt that through their lyrics, they'll always be there for you. And all you have to do is call their name. So I hope the reading was helpful. And I hope that you enjoyed this. It was such a great opportunity. I thank you. And I wish you so many blessings. So I hope you have a fantastic night, John. It was a pleasure to do this. And I thank everybody for tuning in today. It was great having everybody be a part of John's reading. I hope you all found it enlightening, and you can see that loved ones are so close. They are with us in spirit, and as a medium, it's a joy for me to show that to you. So if you'd like a reading, please feel free to contact me at my website, which you can see at the bottom here, or you can go to my Facebook page, Dr. Aerin Kube, and there you'll find that I run regular contests, and I'm going to be running another one here pretty shortly, but you can go there, post questions for me too. The only thing, just note that if you go to my website, I have an online booking page. So if you are looking for a reading, please make sure you book that appointment. I appreciate everybody's time, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. So again, thank you for coming, and thank you for being a part of the Channeled Spirit. I'm Dr. Aerin. I'm your host, and I am signing off.